If we don't act together, then we're nothing. We don't stick together, we're nothing. And if we can't even trust each other, then we're nothing.
Hi, Michael. Hello. I'm Lauren. I'm Andy's nurse. I think I've talked to you on the phone a couple times. It's nice to finally meet you in person. Yes. We're going to come right down here.
All right.
We found a
Thank you.
a little bit bigger room that we could all visit in.
Okay.
Come on in.
All right.
We pulled the table out if that's okay. Do you want to stay in your wheelchair? Would you like a regular chair?
This is fine for now.
So I introduced myself. Maybe we could do introductions, and then we've got several people that were able to come in person, but they are on the computer on Teams that are present also, okay?
My counselor was wanting to sit in on this too.
Your counselor? Sure.
Monty Schultz.
Yeah, he's on here.
Oh, okay.
Did he?
Oh, okay.
Michael, when we meet with patients, we have to wear masks, but veterans don't, so
Okay.
we're going to have our masks. Okay.
Do you prefer to have a mask on or off?
No, that's fine.
Okay.
So maybe we'll do in-person introductions, and then everyone who's called in or is on Teams could be introduced.
Yeah, are we doing that?
Yeah, go ahead.
You know me, Andy Ahrens, primary care provider.
So Lauren Danzig, I am the registered nurse care manager that works with Andy, and I've talked to you a couple times on the phone and on secure messages before.
Correct. Yes.
I'm Trevor Stryker. I'm the post 9/11 military brigade case manager. I spoke to you that one time.
Yep.
And Heidi Gott is the case manager you are normally working with.
Correct.
She is in the appointment right now. I think she planned on coming here. So, yeah, I provide case management similar to what Heidi does.
Okay.
And I'm Bryce Dietz. I'm one of the mobility managers for Veteran Transportation Service. I cover the Grand Island, Holdridge, Hastenell, this area over here.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay. I'll turn my computer around so you can, I don't know if that helps you to see or.
Yeah, there you go. That's fine.
Can you see, sort of?
Yep.
Yes, just say I'm on Teams. I'm Jordan Beers. I'm the Department of Veteran Affairs for NWI VTS Chief. So I cover all of NWI for transportation.
Okay.
And I'm Sally Cox. I work with South Central Behavioral Services. I'm representing Ashley Dallin and Lisa Stitt.
I'm Bobby Schultz. I'm not on the video. I can get the Teams to open, so I had to do the call-in deal.
Okay.
I'm just there. Michael's there, but.
Is that everybody?
I think that's everybody.
Okay.
Am I gonna run the show?
Sure.
Are you gonna run the show?
Go
Okay.
for it.
So, I guess we're all meeting with the common goal of trying to help Michael. We want to get his pain under control, and we just want to help you. So that's why we're here, okay? So maybe if you could tell us all, like, what are your goals with this meeting, and then we all want to work together and get there.
Simple terms, get everybody on the same page
Okay.
so there's no miscommunications anymore.
Sure.
Because I'm getting so many different answers. I just wish somebody from Care in the Community would be here, because their system is jacked up worse than,
Okay.
like, it's bad.
Okay.
Lauren, I can't understand what he's saying.
Okay. Michael, could we maybe scoot you closer?
Yeah.
So you might pick up our microphone better, is that okay? And then maybe we'll have to talk a little louder. So Michael said that his goal is to get everybody on the same page. he said that he had hoped that someone from Care in the Community from the VA could have been here. He said that the system is kind of rough in the way that it operates for Care in the Community. So I think that we all have the same goal, just get on the same page. Do you have anything else that you want to add, Michael?
I'm kind of just open to hear what you guys have to say,
Okay.
what's been talked about, figured out, what,
Absolutely. Okay. So get everybody on the same page. So can you give us like some specific goals that you're hoping with this meeting? I think getting your pain better controlled is like a huge one.
Correct.
Correct. Okay. So pain control.
definitely.
Okay. Can you give us some more specific goals that you're hoping to attain?
Steady, constant care,
Okay, that's fair.
not here one day a week, and then next week it's 2 days a week, and then a month later it's one time, and then 2 months later it's another time.
Okay.
That's not gonna help nobody.
Okay, so I think what I hear you saying is like more consistent appointments. Is that what you're thinking?
Well, I have consistent appointments,
Okay.
but transportation gets in the way, and
Yes. Okay. So, okay. So transportation has been a hindrance. Okay.
7 appointments in the last month and a half, 2 months, something like that.
Okay.
Don't quote me on the exact
Yeah,
numbers,
that's
but
okay.
it's been at least 7 to 8
Okay.
appointments.
Okay. Okay.
So.
Um,
And then they fired the massage therapist, they fired the acupuncturist. So there was several weeks there where I didn't have any appointments, no relief.
yes. We have a little bit of a lull. I'm sorry, I'm kind of taking notes as he's talking too. Are you able to hear him better now, Sally?
Yes, thank you very
Okay,
much.
yes, of course, absolutely. Okay. So pain control, steady constant care with transportation being something that's been a hindrance. What else?
There's miscommunication between the outside providers and the VA.
Okay. So VA and outside miscommunication. Can you give me an example of that?
Like we were talking on the phone, and Dr. Ahrens was saying there was C2 through C6, if I remember right, and then the epiduralist is treating thoracic and not the cervical, and I asked him to figure out what was going on, where's the miscommunication. He told me it wasn't his problem, it was mine, that I'd have to figure out it.
Okay.
That's not true.
It's on YouTube if you want to listen.
It's your problem.
It's on YouTube if you want to
Let's do
listen.
this.
Already did.
Let's do
Okay.
this. Let's not get lost in the, we all have the same goal, right? In the outset of this meeting, we stated we have the same goal. We want to get you help. So
And don't tell me I'm lying.
okay, I agree. So let's just leave that on the table. So whether we interpreted it different ways, let's work towards our goal, okay?
Right, because see,
So
I have social pragmatic communication disorder, dyslexia, all these other learning disabilities, and nobody's giving me any concessions. They treat me like I'm normal, and like it's making my PTSD worse. Like nobody seems to care. Nobody's making it any better.
Well, I care.
Then
And
hopefully
thank
we
you.
can make this better.
Yes,
Then
thank you for sharing that with us. Thank you. We may not always know the best ways to help you, so I am very open to suggestions. So if you need to pause and say, I need this to go a different way, please tell me that, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so your C2 to C6 is what PA Ahrens was treating, and then a different area, the thoracic spine, was going to be treated. Is that what you said?
I had been treated for
Had been
thoracic.
treated? Okay.
Yes.
It was just FYI only. It's nothing I was treating.
Okay.
What's that for that?
Just for your information.
Oh, okay.
It was, you're being treated for the T-spine, the thoracic spine, which we knew. The imaging also showed that there's abnormalities in the cervical spine, which is just additional information, you know, for your knowledge. And it could be important as to the overall, you know, pain control or lack of pain control. So, yep, we want the T-spine treated, and it was just information on the C-spine, the cervical spine.
Okay. So the pain going up into my neck isn't caused by the degenerative disc disease, if I remember right?
I'll let that up to the pain doctor.
That's another thing.
Yeah.
Who?
Who is he
Because-
seeing for
Dr.
pain?
Albers.
Dr. Albers, so pain is Dr. Albers.
Yep.
But
Can you, my computer, I have my camera on, can you see, when did he see Albers last?
But I got a phone call saying somebody else is wanting to see me for pain clinic.
Okay.
So,
Was, you know, I know that you have a lot of people involved in your care. Do you know if that was the VA pain clinic? It
Correct.
was VA, okay.
Yep.
Okay.
it was a 3660 number.
Yeah, okay. So that was generated by TA Aarons and I. We asked them to get involved and to give their opinions on what could possibly help you. So that was an extra kind of tentacle in this whole thing, all these offshoots of someone that we asked to get involved was a VA pain clinic, so,
Okay.
okay.
But that was never told to me. Nobody said anything. They just called out of the blue.
Okay. We,
Same thing with the pulmonologist. I didn't find out anything about it till Care in the Community. I was talking to them. They're like, "Oh, you're wanting to set up a pulmonologist appointment." Like, what?
And you're like, that's news to me, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
It's just miscommunication
Yes, there's-
over and over and over.
Yes.
Doesn't seem like nobody cares about my mental health because nobody's making me, helping me.
Thank you for sharing that with us. Communication has been rough because there are so many different facets, so many different people involved. So we'll make sure that we work on that in the future, okay? Okay. Were you able to see, or do we even know when he saw Dr. Albers last for pain?
No, they're not keeping us like up to date for each appointment.
Okay,
They kind of come in batches.
sure.
Did you
So
guys get the file? They were supposed to send my whole entire file.
I have not seen that, but I would be happy to request those records, okay? I'll get those,
Well, they were supposed to be sending them already.
Yeah,
I
okay,
sent them last week.
okay.
Like one of that pile that I have on my desk, maybe?
Would you, it's up to you, I don't know, do you wanna go look?
Yeah, go look.
I don't know if that was from Albers or
Right.
not, I'm not
I
sure.
got it.
Sometimes, so you're well aware with the VA, there's a delay a lot. So if it came to this building, it could be that it's not to our clinic yet, if it got sent last week with the holiday and things, okay? So Andy's gonna go look at that. So pain control, so Andy's gonna get the records for pain control. So that was your first goal. A second issue that we talked about was transportation. So we have two representatives here from VA Transportation that would like to give some input and see if we can't work on that a little bit, okay? So I might turn it over here to Jordan and Bryce.
Okay, Bryce, I'll go ahead and start out, if that's fine.
Yep.
So I've been looking, Mr. Alright, I've been looking at your past trips and a little bit about our program, VTS. We are here to bridge the gap for veterans that cannot get to their appointments. However, we have to prioritize based on their medical needs, based on what your physicians are saying as well. So in our directive, the VA has certain veterans that we are obligated to transport, and those are special mode veterans that have a consult in there that says, yes, this guy is wheelchair bound, this guy is this, he can no longer get to his appointments unless this, and this. Well, and he's got a diagnosis. Well, you know, we're trying to, trying to figure out the diagnosis, but we don't have anything in there, sir. But you are a 100% service-connected veteran. And a 100% service-connected veteran can submit for benefits of about 41.5 cents per mile round trip. So if you submit a 1035-42 online, we will pay you, we will reimburse you for your transportation costs. Second thing I wanted to review was the trips. And I'm going over so we started transporting you a lot in January of 2023. And we have completed almost all of these trips, except for in May, we had 2. And one of them was a cancellation due to the clinic. And the other one was the denial because we didn't have any drivers available. So we kind of work just like your clinics do. So if the clinic, you call and say, I need an appointment today, they say, hey, we don't have anyone available, you still can't go into that appointment. Okay? Just like transportation, if you call us and say, hey, I got an appointment on this date, we have to make sure that we have available transportation that day. Our driver has to be available for you. If our driver is already busy, how do we provide transportation to somebody?
But they're not busy.
That's why we've reached out and given you the options, and we've, that you are 100% certified. So you can submit for beneficiary travel pay. You can call and schedule somebody to give you a ride and then reimburse them with the 41.5 cents per mile round trip that we have. We also have to prioritize, like I said, our special mode veterans. So let's give a scenario. So 30 days out, sir, you call us and we book you a transportation and we've got your ride. But then the 2 days or 3 days before and I know, we try really hard not to do this, but then the Grand Island calls us up and says, hey, we've got a special mode veteran that the VA is obligated to take. Now we have to take that veteran. If we don't, we have to provide transportation through a vendor or pay for someone to transport him. We don't have vendors in that area that can do that. So we have to cancel appointment for you so we can take that special mode veteran. And that's how our directive is lined up.
So I'm shit out of luck.
That's why we try to work with you, sir, so we can give you all sorts of options for you to provide transportation to your appointment. And sometimes I know that's not the best answer, but we are, I'm a veteran too, service connected, and we use those monthly checks to kind of, offset, defray the cost of other things that we can't do to get to our care. And this might be one of those things. But I've reviewed a lot of these, sir, and I'm just going back over, and then there was a time in April where there was a cancellation to the clinic, and then there was another cancellation due to the veteran being sick, and then there was 3 denials because we did not have a driver available on those days. So the best thing to do with us is to continue to schedule in advance like you are, sir, and just keep in communication with us and your clinics to make sure that you have to be able to have transportation with VTS first before you can book that appointment. So a lot of times we call veterans and we tell them, call us first and say, hey, when's probably like the best day, the best week, or when you're not busy, I'm trying to schedule my appointments.
Right, put it on me.
And then the TAs will say, sir, if you book these days, these appointments at these times, I know those won't always work for you, but sometimes they will. And then we can tell you when we have the availability, and then we shouldn't have a problem. But you have to reach out to us first.
No, we will
And
have a
remember,
problem. That's what I'm
if you're
saying.
not special mode eligible to VTS, you're considered a courtesy rider. And that is if we have the availability to transport you. We've asked, for you to reach out to DAV. We've had other, services
have
in that
wheelchair
area that we
accessible
have asked
vehicles.
to reach out to. And those are all things that we've got to kind of put back on the veteran sometimes to call and schedule those things. And then, and we can help you out. Your social worker's there to help you out. That's just kind of a little bit of what I've looked up, and that's kind of what I can explain. And right now, you are not considered a special mode veteran because of the movements. There is no diagnosis. There is nothing that can back a special mode consult up for you.
That I don't understand.
For the wheelchair, they can't make
For the
accommodations, because you don't have any diagnoses that warrant a wheelchair.
Chronic pain doesn't warrant.
Yeah, so there's no, I just don't see a diagnosis, and I've worked with PA errors quite a bit on this over the last 4 or 5 years.
So
And
chronic
there's just
pain
no
doesn't-
diagnosis. I just don't see where the diagnosis states that he's wheelchair bound and that he cannot stand up, sit in a vehicle.
Like
And then,
paraplegia, paralysis, legs down.
Yes.
One
So
side
someone that's
weakness.
legally blind.
So are you gonna answer my question?
Loss of both of their limbs, things like that. So,
So yes or no?
We have guys that have lost two of their limbs. but
Okay,
they can
thank
still
you.
stand up and dip, so
Fine,
that
then.
would require a special mode. The veteran can stand up and pivot, so he can get to his manual wheelchair, he can stand up in a van, he can sit down,
Yeah,
and then he can
sure.
hold his wheelchair back up. But that's something that ETS, we need someone who can't stand and pivot. That's what we're trying to take.
So I need some like high doses of painkillers then, because I go to these appointments, I get a little bit of relief, and then I have to worsen myself climbing back into the van and hitting them bumpy roads all the way back home. So then I'm back to square one when I get home. It does no fucking good. But nobody cares. Nobody gives a shit. I'm just shit out of luck.
So my question is, the van situation, if we can figure out the van situation in the sense of like, based off DAV, I know and I can go talk to them too to see if I know that they have an option to, if you have your wheelchair, that they could fold it up, put it in the trunk, and you just hop in the car normally. Besides that mode of transportation, other than the bumps, what is the issue? Because we can't do anything about the bumps. There's nothing we can do about that.
Climbing into the van.
Climbing into van, okay, and that is on the veteran to be able to do that unless he is wheelchair bound. Because it is on the veteran, that's how our policy is set
So
up.
I'm
that
lost in the sauce.
The veteran is supposed to get in and out of his house and in and out of the van
Yep.
by themselves.
That's the crux of the whole situation. I'm not well enough to do it myself, but I'm not sick enough to qualify for care. That's the crux of the whole fucking situation. Same thing with homebound primary care. Same thing with family caregiver program. All of it. I'm not well enough to do it on my own, and I'm asking for assistance, but I don't qualify. So I'm lost in the sauce.
Michael, what do you, when you have to go other places that are not medical appointments, what is your mode of
I don't.
transportation?
I don't.
Okay. So, like you don't have
So,
to go
like,
out like groceries or anything like that?
Nope, I get them delivered. I have to pay the delivery fee and stuff like that because I can't get out.
Do you feel like, so I've visited with you on the phone before and you've mentioned like the bumpy ride.
Right.
Do you feel like your wheelchair absorbs those bumps? Like, is that more comfortable for you? Because I know I used to ride the VTS van to transport patients to Omaha,
Right.
and that van is bumpy.
Right.
So,
Yeah, there's
do you
different
feel like in the
vans.
wheelchair it's less painful than in the van?
There's like two different vans that usually come get me. There's
Okay.
one that, I don't know how to put it. There's like seats on the side.
Okay.
The one I came in today, that's better.
Okay.
But then there was one last week or the week before. I'm not sure
That's
which.
pretty
And it
rough.
was bad.
Really? Okay.
I mean, and I was just going across town into Hastings. So,
Okay. Okay.
I mean, I'm sitting here doing this the whole time because,
Like bracing or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
and that doesn't help anything up here.
So by law, and a DOT law, is that we don't want anybody to be transported in a wheelchair because that's not safe. The safest spot is for them in a seat. So by law, if the veteran can get out of their wheelchair,
Which
and
I
transfer
can't.
to a seat, they have to.
Without pain.
And that's just law. We can't change that, and that's our national directive, that's DOT law. That's just how it is. And there's nothing, and maybe I'm missing this, but I don't see anywhere where there's just anything that we can base that consult on, and maybe PA Aaron's, you can help me out, but I just don't see anything.
Yeah, right now, those diagnoses that you need are not there.
They're just, they're not there, and that's, we provide.
So I'm lost in the sauce.
transportation.
I don't qualify. I'm not good enough to do it.
We just kind of gotta rely on what they serve us. Lyft, Uber, things like that, because we're paying you, sir, if you want to submit your 41.5 cents per mile round trip. Price is out there right now. He can show you exactly, can set you up online, you do everything, and then you get paid, and it's almost the next day, it goes right in your bank account. You can reimburse the transportation company. Veterans are using this all over, nationally, all over. They pay.
What about here, though,
they pay the
locally?
City bus, they pay everyone.
Distance does not
based
matter.
on the-
No, I mean, what services are they using here locally?
Do Grand Island and Hastings have reliable Uber and Lyft transportation? I know like Omaha certainly would, but
Nope.
does our area?
Nope.
I'm not sure about Lyft and Uber based off, and I know Hastings isn't as big as Grand Island.
I can
I'm
answer
assuming
that,
it's bigger
no.
here,
Okay.
but he lives there, so he would probably have a better idea of,
We've called them all.
yeah.
Every single one. The only one that has wheelchair accessible vehicles is the ride bus, and that's $3 a ride for local rides.
Okay. So we're like kind of at a standstill. So do you think that it would be possible to stand pivot out of your wheelchair to get into a DAV van? Because that seems to be a little bit more, like that's what we're saying, is it's the transportation, right? So if we were able to get you do you think that you could get into a DAV van to come to these appointments, knowing that the appointments are to help with your pain, to help with your health? Would be
You weren't
willing to
listening
try?
when I said, you know,
I'm listening, but here's the thing. A lot of the VTS rules are national rules that come from Washington, D.C.
right?
So the Grand Island VA is not going to change those laws and those directives and rules. So we're trying to come up with something, an alternative that could work for you. So do you think that you'd be willing to try to stand pivot to get into the vans?
So what would be the use of it to go to the appointments then?
So the benefits of using DAV is the only way they would ever essentially, cancel a ride or whatever is if that driver got sick or had to leave or somebody called in, or there would be no other reason, because they can't do special mode veterans and stuff like that. They're a volunteer service. So the benefit for you would be if you can at least, stand up and just sit right in. The driver, like I said, I'll go talk to them, that they can just fold it up, put it right in the trunk, and then when they get you to your appointment, they pull it right back out in there for you. And the other benefit of that is you don't have to worry about us coming all the way from Grand Island all the way to Hastings, doing all that stuff. DAV's already there. They'll sit there, they'll wait for you at your appointment, and then they come right out and take you straight home. We're not gonna sit there and wait because, the driver may have to drop you off and then do somebody else or whatever, and other tasks that driver has to do. DAV, I don't know how busy they are around in this area, but I know that they have enough drivers to where he'll probably just sit and wait for you. But that's something that I'll have to talk to DAV about to see, even if I have to talk to the DAV coordinator back in Omaha to see, hey, is this something we can do? If it's just, he'll do everything. You just gotta put the wheelchair in the trunk and take it out when you're there. That's the best case scenario we can do for you right now that'll help you out. It's just you gotta be able to pivot.
And he is able to pivot. I mean, you do it at home, at PT. So we know that you're able to stand pivot, we just gotta do it.
Okay.
So we can stand and pivot. We can take DAV. There's a right transit.
I still haven't heard an answer to my question
6
yet.
p.m. I just put that in the group chat. Teams links. You can look those up, and you can submit beneficiary travel. And it looks like, based on this, that you're going to actually pocket more money than what they're going to charge you.
So Michael has stated that he still hasn't gotten an answer to his question. So will you restate your question? I think maybe in all this discussion it's gotten lost.
What is the point of me going to these appointments?
The point of you coming to the appointment, so you've got many appointments, right? You've got appointments with Monty Schultz for your therapy. You've got appointments with Andy Aarons for your primary care. You've got pain appointments with Dr. Albers. So the point of going to the appointments is what each of these different disciplines is treating. So treating your mental health with Monty Schultz, treating your primary care concerns with Andy Aarons, treating your pain with Dr. Albers. That's the point of going to those appointments, is to maintain your health.
Mental health is all VBC, it's like virtual.
It is, okay.
And the
I got a
acupuncture.
question. Does Sally or you guys have any other, what do people use around there for transportation? They just don't use transportation. What else is available? Could you guys help us out with that?
It's great.
Right, yeah.
So in
Or do you
Hastings,
guys
it's right
have
transit.
anybody else that, or all your patients are strictly, they drive themselves or
I
they
said
have
that
someone
already.
else?
There is ride
There's-
transit.
And they
Yep, I've
do
seen that,
accommodate
and that's an
wheelchairs.
option, and that's where the social worker can get involved, help him out.
They have.
Does he have a smartphone? Because if he's got a smartphone, he can download the app and do it from a smartphone. Same thing to request the beneficiary travel. We'll pay it the same day for him. I just didn't know if Sally or Monty could help us out with some transportation.
Hi, this is Heidi. I'm the VA social worker. So I know that we've contacted, I know I spoke with the pain clinic and their staff, as well as I'm pretty sure the community support worker had been in communication with Ride Transit as well as with Mr. Herrick about that being an option. And I don't necessarily remember why you declined it, but I do know that it was declined on his part to help him get to his appointments.
What was canceled?
Remember that they had offered to set up Ride Transit for you
Correct, yep.
in Hastings. Do you remember why you declined it?
I didn't decline it.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. Well, then that was what I was informed. So maybe South Central can speak to that.
I can speak to the programs that Mike, you were working with Lisa and Ashley on. And transportation is not a key component of that program. They are both case managers in the respect that you're supposed to, and I'm looking at Mike, the goals that you set up with Lisa, and your goal was to be able to do things on your own. So Lisa would come in, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Lisa would come in, look at your appointments, figure out what you needed to do to get to them, and then kind of pull out, and then the rest was up to you. And I know that the ride is available in Hastings. From what I'm hearing today in the discussion, it sounds like you could use Ride and put in for reimbursement, and then your concern of it costing you money, it sounds like it even pay you more to use it. But as far as getting you back, that is not a component of what these programs do. Lisa, primarily as a community support worker, is supposed to help Mike maintain his routine, ensure he has basic needs in the home. Ashley was trying, I think, Heidi, to coordinate care with you. However, what I'm hearing today, it sounds like Mike has a lot of care coordinators in his team, and I'm wondering if we don't have too many.
So real quick, Sally, what I was asking you is, do you see any other transportation companies dropping off patients at your facility that you know in that area, besides Ride?
Right, no. Well, there's a taxi.
Because I set it up with VTS the day before, or that same day they cancel. Ride bus isn't going to pick me up because they might have people, and I'm screwed.
And that is because of our housing. That's
Okay.
unfortunate.
So it sounds like there are plenty of options for
So you don't
transportation
have to
in
necessarily
Hastings
rely on this all the time.
for Mr. Herrick to get to and from his appointments then.
Well, there's two.
Will the ride bus, anybody know, will the ride bus take me to Grand Island?
So there's
They
Ride,
don't,
there's
they can't cross
taxi,
county lines.
there's VTS, there's...
So they're not going to be any help anyway.
But for your appointments
In
around-
in Hastings, right? But the ones here, they're not going to be helpful.
So for the
I'd like to
appointment,
know what Mike's saying right now.
He said that the transportation won't be helpful.
the ride transit, because it
Right.
won't come into Hall County for
Yeah.
appointments in Grand Island.
Right.
And that's where I was gonna chime in and say, that's where the DAV, they are pretty reliable with the veterans I have,
Yes,
but
they're very
it's
reliable.
back to you being able to get into the van.
Yeah.
And like I was saying, while you guys were talking, is if I set it up with VTS to go to the appointment, they cancel the day before or that same day, I call up Ride Transit, they're like, I'm sorry, you're full, I'm full. So then I have to make another appointment, which could be another week out.
And I wanna make sure you understand that I mentioned DAV and you mentioned VTS. DAV and VTS,
Or two
DAV
separate.
isn't even, they're volunteer,
Right.
separate from VA.
Yeah,
And they will go into Hastings and get you.
Yeah.
They have drivers in Hastings who will
Hastings.
bring you here.
right.
And so that's what I'm referring to, and the veterans that I've worked with DAV, it seems like it's pretty reliable for them.
Yeah.
But like I said, that's,
Yeah, we just gotta be willing to coordinate it, and sometimes it takes a little bit on the veterans and to help with DAV and coordinate those things and be a little flexible.
Okay, worst case scenario, I stand up, I turn around to pivot into the van, my legs give out, I fall, I crack my head open. Then what?
You haven't done that yet, so why would we?
February 15th, I was walking around, I fell.
Yes.
A week ago,
Mr. Eric,
I was walking in my home, I fell. So,
stand up and pivot.
it happens.
Drivers should always be giving you an elbow or a shoulder to help you out, but always. There should be no reason why they don't do that.
Okay,
But we won't be walking around like you said, February 15th.
I'm sorry.
He's trying to say like the majority of your movement would be, say here's the car door, they roll you up, all you would have to do, stand, shuffle in, and then sit. That's all you would have to do.
Is,
There's a chair that goes in.
Yep, I'm doing it right now. Yep, so it's literally, he'll roll you up to the door, you just stand up, turn your butt, sit in the seat, that's it, and you're in. And then they'll fold up the
So I'll be
wheelchair.
facing out the door.
Well, the door would open like right here, so here's the door, here's the opening, so all you do is stand up and sit, and then move your legs in, and then you're in the van.
Yeah,
That's literally
that's
all
right.
it is. There'd be no walking, there'd be no
Okay.
anything like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay, gotcha.
definitely. And then the same thing, when you get out, they roll the wheelchair right up to that door, you just swing your legs out, stand up, and then pivot again right into your wheelchair.
Okay.
Yeah. Because we know, the pain thing, going through your notes and everything, I understand the pain's a huge deal for you, and I get that. And that's why we're trying to do as much accommodation as we can to where you're not having to move as much. I know that, like I said, I'm not saying I know what you're feeling, but I get that your pain is so much that it does hurt to walk, and I get that. And that's why this minimal movement is going to be able to help with the AV to constantly transport. I'm not saying all the time, but like you're saying, they're very reliable in that area.
Yeah, I realize none of y'all, even on the video, it's none of your guys' fault. It's caring the community. When I was living in Superior, I was traveling an hour here to get care. And then I have to travel an hour back home. That was too much. I called them up, I asked care in the community, can I move to Hastings? Because that travel is just ridiculous, it hurts.
Good.
In fact, 2015, the doctor, I can't think of his name. Anyway, he told me, he goes, it's not safe for you because I was having muscle spasms, my legs give out. He's like, it's not safe for you to travel more than 15 miles. VA didn't seem to care about that. They're like, we're gonna make you travel anyway. So when I moved to Hastings, I lost all of my care in the community, except for primary care, which is psychologist. That's it. The rest of it, I still have to travel for, even though I'm right there where I was getting it before.
So, yeah, I mean, I can't speak on community
I
care,
know.
how they run things and
That's
stuff like
fine.
that.
Essentially, how care in the community works, though, is like, so yes, you would have still got your primary care, you qualify for primary care, and your mental health is care in the community. Anything specialized, you have to live over 16.
Right, which I clarified with care in the community before I even started to move.
It just recently changed, so that changed what, like?
April of last year.
Maybe, I mean, I can't even remember.
'Cause that's when I
now,
moved.
But because they changed some of the qualifications, so they did change, because I feel like everything was over 30 minutes, and then they changed specialty care like physical therapy, like essentially any specialized care to over 60 minutes away. So, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Same thing. Not well enough to drive myself and do things myself, but I don't qualify.
But that's where we could try to work on this with the DAV and VTS to get you here.
I think if we can kind of work on a combination of all four transportation services, I don't know if we have an issue. So
Where
we
can I
always
move
go
in
with
Nebraska
DAV
that,
first, and then what if DAV can't do it and the backup fails? Oh, we gotta call a taxi cab. Okay, well, we figured that out. What if VTS goes to do it and then we can't do it? Well, our backup could be taxi cab again on that day. So we always have an option, or we could always just schedule ride first.
you don't understand the scheduling, I guess. Have you ever tried to schedule a ride?
Say again,
Have you ever tried to schedule a ride?
with,
Anybody?
yeah, yes, sir. I have, I've scheduled
How soon did you let them know that you needed a ride?
Say again?
How soon did you let them know you needed a ride?
Oh,
Anytime.
for a ride or a cab?
Ride, cab, anything.
Oh, for a cab ride, I mean, those are timed now. That should be within an hour.
You don't live in Hastings then, I guess.
Okay, maybe, and I can always, sir, if you want me to, I can call out there and see what their response time is in and around Hastings.
Okay. Yep.
Well, so could we then just stick with, like, what I'm hearing you say is you want something more reliable. Is that kind of what I'm hearing you say?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
So
Oh, yeah, you weren't here in the beginning.
Yeah, so, one thing that I would maybe recommend then is like, with like your Hastings appointments, right? So we know that, or I know for sure that Right Transit is up to 24 hours in advance.
Right.
So you could just schedule with them, right? Because once you know your appointments, like I know with pain clinic, neurology, and anything else within Hastings, you know that appointment is made more than 24 hours in advance.
Right.
So you could call, get that on the books, right?
Right.
So then you would have a scheduled, appointment with Ride
Right.
for those appointments.
Correct.
Now, I would say, unfortunately, you're right. In terms of UTS, like, I know their policies are their policies in terms of, of how they handle the appointments. So, but what I do know is that you can call DAB, because I do this with my own veterans, is that you can go ahead and schedule with them and be on the books. And so when
Right.
you know when you have appointments, you could go ahead and make your appointments.
Right.
And, but the caveat to this is what we just talked about with being willing to pivot out of your chair and pivot into the van.
Correct.
So is that something you're willing to do?
Medically, you're well enough to do it.
Probably if I could do like aqua therapy maybe 3 times a week and get more strength in my legs so I can have some confidence.
How often do you come to Grand Island for an appointment?
Care in the community screwed me up so bad I don't know.
Right, okay, so for the Hastings area, like she was saying, like, I think that'd be the best bet to have Ride for sure. Hey, if you know you're having a Hastings appointment, I would just do Ride every time.
Okay.
If you needed an appointment to come up to Grand Island,
Right.
obviously try to give us at least that 10 days in advance so we can work it. And then if it comes down to, hey, we might not be able to do it, we'll call DAV and be like, hey, we got this guy. Do you guys have room? Granted, if it is the last minute, they may not have room, something like that.
Right.
But we can work, because we do it in Omaha and Lincoln. We work with the DAV. Sometimes they can't take them home, so we take some of the DAV guys home because their guys are done. So we can work with DAV to try to accommodate, whether it's a bring in and then we take you home, or vice versa. We bring in, or they bring in, we take you home.
When did that switch?
What?
That you can pick up somebody that's been dropped off by somebody else.
That hasn't switched. So DAV, they're different entities, but they're both under the VA. So because we were both transportation, we work with each other in between the programs. So if they bring them in and they don't have a driver anymore, hey, can you guys take them home? Yeah, we can take them home.
That's
We want to make sure this veteran gets home.
That's not what I was told. In fact, I waited at the acupuncturist. Acupuncturist off.
You're hearing it from the VTS chief and the transportation specialist out there that it can be done.
Yeah. I don't know who told you that it
The
couldn't.
driver.
Let me
Okay.
know.
Yeah,
I
Because-
understand that because they must be telling the wrong information about our program.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm going off of.
Okay. No,
So,
yeah, that's fine. That's the information we want to hear, so we can squash it and tell you what the right thing is.
because I was sitting at the acupuncturist for like an hour waiting for a ride because somebody else couldn't come pick me up and take me home.
In that particular day, it may have been because all the DAV drivers were busy that day. I mean, I don't know the particular situation.
The
but-
driver told me it was CLC that took priority, so she had to go pick them up and drop them off before she can take me home.
And we may need to clarify that still might be the case, whether like if you guys, he still might have to wait. I don't think it's.
No, yeah, there's always going to be a wait time.
Instant.
Always a wait time, and Bryce and Lauren, I can speak on this. So here's the deal. This is what I tell veterans. We can either give you a ride to your appointment, and you can show up a little bit early and have to wait a little bit afterwards, or we just won't be able to take you. So sometimes we may have to go to the VA maybe an hour early because we're already.
Right. Well, what I'm saying is when they call and they leave that automated voice message, it tells you what time that they're going to come pick you
But then even
up.
on the back end, you
I was
guys
fine.
have
I was
hours
out there. I was ready to go. It was an hour later before I got picked
NWI,
up.
Right,
we
and
have
so in that
we have one of
scenario,
the best wait
like I
times
said,
for
I'm gonna need to
takeoffs
find
and
out
pickups,
what that driver was, so I'll look
in
to
the
find that out.
nation. Like our
But
veterans wait like the
We
least
have
amount of
veterans
time.
right there in Omaha that
So,
live maybe
there's
4 blocks
Jordan,
away.
hold on, Jordan, hold on, there's a side conversation, nobody's hearing anybody. Hang on just 1 second. Go ahead, Bryce.
So, I mean, we have guys in Omaha that live, a couple blocks away, and if we don't have the drivers available, they could sit there for 45 minutes to
Right.
an hour. So the wait times are always gonna be a thing. Like he was saying, we could bring it early or bring it right on time, and if whatever the drivers, if they're not available, they're gonna have to wait until that CLC,
Right.
right, in this scenario, that was done, then
Right.
she came back for you.
Right.
It'd be different if she completely left you, then we'd have a bigger problem.
Right. The same thing with
But the point is,
Aqua
you
Ther-
got into your appointment. You got into your appointment. You were seen, though, right? Isn't that the main thing?
That's the
main
goal.
thing. The wait times. That's not our focus of this.
Right.
It's how are we going to help you with your health care? And that's how we're going to help you. Right?
I got lost.
Because we can give you the option to use Ride and to pay
Right.
for it, so they wait hand in foot on you if you want to pay out of your pocket for it. We've given you that option, right?
Right.
So I think if we work together a little bit, Mr. Herrick, we've got the solutions right in front of us right here. We really do.
Right. I guess I'm just hung up on people giving me
I think
misinformation
if
or
we
lying to
try
me.
And we actually try, and the VA staff, the care and community staff try, the veteran himself tries, I think you'll be able to schedule your appointments with minimal interruption from the VA, to be honest with you.
Okay.
So because, and I'll just reiterate again, what he was saying before is that because, again, you don't qualify or whatever, you're under the courtesy ride. So because you're under that courtesy ride, it's, you use us as like your last case scenario in a sense. Like you have all the tools with ride and then DAV that we, say we just gotta do a little bit more work to get those, and that's, super reliable, constant transportation that's gonna be there.
Okay.
VTS should essentially, in your case, would be the last option because we focus on those special mode veterans and stuff like that.
Okay.
Moving forward, I plan on hiring more staff anyway, so then in the future we could, we'll have more drivers to accommodate that if if your condition gets worse. I hope it doesn't. I obviously hope you get a lot better
Right.
with everything like that. But if it comes to where you would need more rides and VTS would be a better option, in the future I have, the hiring processes going through and stuff to help that, so we'll have more staff to accommodate more veterans.
Okay.
It's just, everything takes time, and you probably hear that a lot. It's just what we gotta wait for. It's just wait for that process, and then with time, everything gets better, hopefully.
There's a lot more, Bryce, that, and Ms. Herrick, that we go in detail to, but we've got to be able to provide a reason to have more drivers out there. And, when we put our data together and stuff, our courtesy veterans, unfortunately, that's not what the VA wants us to focus on.
Okay.
But
So.
Ms. Herrick, I can tell you between Ride, CAB, ETS, and DAV, there's no reason you should miss another appointment.
Okay. So to clarify or recap, for Grand Island, it would be DAV.
Hey, I got Bryce right there. Bryce, after this, if you want to, can you set him up? You got your computer, get him, make sure he's good. I'll go in there right now to see if he's got a beneficiary travel page already set up.
I should,
Maybe
unless
social
it
workers
expires.
today, and again, maybe we could try the whole right transit thing again.
Because I was using that going from Superior to
Right,
Hastings
yeah.
or Grand Island, whichever. But yeah, I don't know if you guys ride, maybe not so much, but medically people on webcam in person. Oh crap! Now I lost my train of thought. Oh, crap. I thought I lost it. Gosh dang it.
Medical.
Yeah. Damn it. No, I don't know. My head's a million miles away now. I don't know.
So what I was hearing early on is, it kind of sounded like.
It came back to me.
Got it, go
Care in
ahead.
the community. You guys might have blind faith in care in the community to set up appointments, but I'm here to tell you their system is jacked. Like they said, you're gonna go to Adams County Chiropractic for massage therapy. We had the appointment set up, a time, a date, and everything. And then I called them up and they're like, oh, we don't offer it here in Hastings. You have to go all the way to Red Cloud for it. Okay, that's not what we had set up. We had the appointment set for Hastings. Same thing with Active Family Chiropractic. I tried to get set up with them, and they're like, well, we don't have anything in the Hastings area. You have to go clear to Grand Island. It's like, that's not what Care in the Community said. They said, you have an office here in Hastings that will do it. Sorry, we don't. What was the other one? I mean, it's just one after another, after another, after another, where I call them up and say, hey, I'm supposed to set up an appointment or whatever. Nobody calls back. Or shit happens.
Thank you for that care in the community feedback,
Yeah,
because
it's
that,
messed
if
up.
that is happening, then we will address that.
Because they tell me, Care in the Community tells me go to Optum.com and look up for facilities in your area so you can give us, which one you would like.
Okay.
I go into Optum.com, and in alphabetical order, it goes from like Minnesota to Nevada. There is no Nebraska. So I called Optum. Optum told me we don't have any facilities in network in Nebraska.
Okay.
So I'm lost. That's like two totally different stories to me.
I'm happy to pass that to care in the community because that's good feedback to have. Since that is your experience, then we do need to pass that along.
It's just bad, really
So I also
bad.
see here that they've got a couple letters in here for them, the parent committee that was unable to contact you. It says in here, I know on May 23rd that you're going to contact you.
Hold on, he's grabbing something.
There's another one, May 22nd, that was unsuccessful. Your care in the community was unsuccessful in reaching you to schedule for an appointment in the community by email regarding your referral for pulmonary. So I see it looks like they've been trying to reach out to you and they've been able to get hold of you.
I just pulled out a paper. What does that say to you?
Community care team was unsuccessful in reaching you to schedule for your appointment in the community by secure
There's one on
messaging.
May- Yeah, another one on
Yep.
May 15th.
Hold on. Let me interject. They sent me these letters over and over saying they're trying to connect with me. I call them up on the phone and ask them, where were you trying to send this message? Or where did you try and call me? Where's the email? How were you trying to connect with me? This is how they were trying to connect with me. So they weren't trying to connect with me previously. This is the first time they were trying to connect with me. But it says they were trying. So it doesn't make any freaking sense. This is it. And I've talked to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 different people and gotten 4 different answers on if massage therapy is available through Care in the Community.
So that massage therapy has been changing, and sometimes recently it's been changing often. The massage therapist no longer works here, and so we didn't
She was
have it.
awesome. What happened?
I wish I knew. I don't have those answers. A lot of times our alert is an email that says the massage therapist no longer works at Grand Island VA, and that's all we know. We know nothing else, and I wish I knew.
Because she advocated for me because, like,
was very
technically
nice,
I'm not
yes.
supposed to get acupuncture and massage at the same time. But she advocated and got it changed so that I could get both, and then they got fired, both of them.
So, and we don't know that she got fired. I
Or
mean, it
let
could
go,
be
whatever, yeah.
Whatever. She may have moved to a different state. We don't know, but so.
We gotta let those kind of things go, though.
Yes, those are
That's
details
out of
that
our
we,
control.
yes.
We can't control those things.
But what am I supposed to do in the meantime? Sit and wallow in my suffering?
So yeah, I think maybe the care in the community is having a little trouble reaching reaching out to them because I'm going all the way back to March and they're still having troubles reaching them.
So care in the community, they will try to reach people by phone. They will try to reach people by secure message, and I know that you, I've had good luck reaching you on secure message. When you message me, I'm able to message you back. They use a lot of different means of communication. You're shaking your head no, so tell me about that.
I've been in contact with them just last week,
Okay,
so I don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
okay. So if you're able to call them, when you get these letters that say they
Yep.
tried to get a hold of you, you are able to call them and get it straightened out?
Yep.
Okay, so that's good. That's a huge part of this meeting is transportation and miscommunication, right? So we're figuring out, the VA system is not perfect.
Yeah,
Right,
it's like
nope.
people have blind faith in the next step that they're gonna do what they're supposed to do. And then when they can't do it or they screw up or whatever, then it's supposed to be the next person that's supposed to take care of me. And then nothing ever gets done. Nobody takes care of me. That's the way I feel anyhow. I mean, I got proof to say, that it does happen.
Yes, thank you for sharing those feelings, because you're not, Mr. Hood, you're not the first person that has ever told us that the VA system is not perfect, right? Every person in this room, our hands are tied. Sometimes we want to do more or we want to do different things, and directives come from Washington, D.C., and that there's nothing we can,
Yeah,
we are trying our best.
that's
And
what
we
Heidi
need you
was
to
saying.
tell us when our best isn't working, and that's why we're in this meeting.
Yeah,
So we're addressing the miscommunication. So let's not get hung up on the details. Let's try to work forward. So if you have the number to Care in the Community, then that's a great tool to use to be able to communicate with them, because you can reach them that way.
right. So what's gonna change? Anything? Or is it just gonna be the same shit over and over again?
We're in this meeting.
You said you wanted to move forward, so let's move forward. What's gonna happen now?
Andy, what's your input?
Well, I think we can get you to the appointments, to schedule appointments. We just need to, have you do that stand pivot transfer, into the vehicle, and then someone can help put that wheelchair in the trunk.
Right.
So I think that's our answer. I think that is our answer. What's your thought on that?
As long as I can get, yeah, I suppose, yeah.
Okay.
And thank you, seriously, thank you for working with us on that, because that is a kind of a concession on your part to be willing to try that, and we appreciate that. You need a pen?
Yes, absolutely, Ms. Harrod. I'm a veteran myself, and I use the VA, and I advocate when I go, when I have issues. I definitely advocate for us with community care and things like that. So just so you know, you're not alone, man. I'm a veteran, Bryce is a veteran, I know that for sure, and me and him discuss these things all the time. Maybe you don't have that option, you got my number, if you want to call and discuss, call me. But we're in it together, and one thing I noticed is when I stopped saying, okay, well, what can I do to help the VA help me, is when I really started getting the answers I needed. Is when I really asked, what can I do to help the VA out to help my health care? And once I started doing that, you wouldn't believe the things that happened.
How long have I been contacting you and asking you for help? And before that, it was...
Say that again, sir, I
crap.
couldn't hear that.
He's talking to somebody else.
Yeah.
He asked Heidi how long he's been contacting her and asking for help.
And before you, it was the other lady. I can't think of her name. Tammy Berkey. Been asking and asking for years, so your statement holds no water. You kept telling me my hands are tied, that you guys can't do nothing. That's just the way the system works. So go to the VSO. So I went to the VSO. VSO sent me to Patient Advocate. Patient Advocate sent me to...
Michael Monty he's wanting to talk to you.
I think Michael, we have I mean, if you look, Ray, I want to say that we've seen each other 4 times, and Heidi got the ball rolling with I talked to her, this meeting was put together before me, but I think the content is good to
Set it up.
hopefully get things back on track to get you to your appointments and having a plan to do that. I'll continue to talk to you and I'll go right to these people too, because I'm a veteran too, right? And I want to know, right? So I think this is a good direction. At least I'm hopeful.
Right. And that's one thing, I mean, while I got you on the line, like, you're gonna be going out of business here shortly, correct?
What's that?
You're gonna be going out of business here shortly, correct?
No,
Oh, you're not?
no. I'll continue to see it.
Because Karen, the community, is telling me that you are retiring.
Care in the community is wrong, and I will take care of care in the community. So they should not be telling you that and calling you and telling you that we're done. So now they have to deal with my wife, who's worse than me.
Wow. Okay.
Thanks.
See,
He's got it under control.
Care in the community is telling you we're done. Michael.
Eric?
Yeah. That is not true. So.
I think honestly, after this, I think Chris Banks and his crew needs to have a call then if this is. I think we got transportation and the VA piece done. I think now we need to have Chris Banks and his crew work with them.
Well, I do work with Chris Banks. I do work with Chris Banks' right-hand woman, which is Trista Jelinek. Michael.
My wife works with. We've had this issue with care in the community before, and we had it redirected. We had it changed. It was because of the people who were renting our office from us were telling people they were taking over our business. That is not true. And we had it all worked out with care in the community, and this should have been taken care of 3 weeks ago.
Well, Heather even
So I
said it
apologize that you
too.
got that
So.
call.
Heather even said that you were retiring. So,
Heather, yeah, I don't know. She knew we weren't retiring yet. So everybody that worked for us knew that I was going to keep about 15 to 20 clients, because I had some that weren't finished yet. You were one.
And these are, but I think these are things though that we're good with. Mr. Herrick, these are kind of Monty's things, and that you heard about that. Sorry, but I think Monty just reassured that he's good to go. So I think we can look past this now. Does that kind of reassure you a little bit more,
If he's staying
Mr.
there.
Herrick?
yeah, that's great.
Okay.
I'm just pissed that I had to spend months worrying about all this crap, because the only other person with EMDR treatment is Mackenzie Wright, and I don't get along with her because we just talk in circles. Nothing ever gets accomplished, and I was just getting stressed. So I went to went to Heather, and then Heather's on maternity leave, and she told me that she was quitting and Monty was going to be retiring. So I'm like worried as fuck, like I'm not gonna have any kind of mental health. And then I asked to do biofeedback, and that whole situation got messed up. So I
Michael,
don't,
just so you know, the VA mental health does offer.
Well, we can talk more about the biofeedback. There's a difference between biofeedback and neurofeedback. I can get you hooked up to, if you want to buy, it's a $90 program. Next time we talk, we can talk about that a little bit.
they offer it here in town, here. Because that's not what they told me. That's not what they told me.
Well, to be fair, they don't necessarily list on here, so it just says behavioral health.
Mental health, psychotherapy, PTSD groups.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't specify
The modality.
specific treatment modalities. So, correct. It doesn't show it on there, but it doesn't show CBT, EMDR. It doesn't show all these modalities that types of therapy that can be treated for you.
Right. I was talking about the biofeedback. It says it has it on here.
No, I didn't say that. I
Oh.
said that we
She was
offer
talking about EMDR.
Oh.
Yeah.
My bad. Okay. So EMDR is offered here in this facility.
Correct.
By who?
Well, there's a few providers that can, but I know Dr. Morton.
And how long ago has this been available?
Well,
Dr. Morton came on in February, January,
Maybe
full time.
full-time maybe.
Okay. So how come I wasn't allowed to know this?
well, hold on. So I was, I have been following the conversations between you and Melissa, and I know what was expressed
Who's-
This
here.
is the nurse.
The nurse, the
Nurse.
mental health nurse.
Oh, okay,
Nurse.
okay, okay.
And so, which I know what she had recommended was that that you could come in and have an intake done with the provider, and at that time, you could discuss with that mental health provider what you were interested in and how to move forward, what would be best, how to treat whatever it is that you were wanting to come in to be seen for. So I know that she, on her behalf, is not going to say, we recommend you have this or that, or, because as I was reviewing the messages, you were like, I want someone who's going to treat, what's the best treatment for this, this diagnosis and this diagnosis. And she is not going to tell you that. She is going to say, please come have an appointment and an intake with one of our providers. And one of the providers would discuss what would be available for you for those diagnoses, or, how to best treat your, what it is that you wanted to be treated for. So that might have been where you felt like the miscommunication came in, but I did review that, and that is her recommendation to you, was to come in and meet with a provider to have an intake done to discuss further what would be available treatment-wise for you.
Right. Well, it was Dr. Todd that sent me out into the community because she said at that time that nobody did EMDR.
And I know that was a good, I don't know, probably a good year or more ago, I'm terrible at time, but,
Correct.
and maybe at that time that was,
So that's why I did the secure messaging asking her what's going on, because I thought Monty was retiring and the only other option was Mackenzie Wright. So I was like, what am I supposed to do? Where am I going to go? And I called Whole Health. They didn't suggest anything.
And Monty, are you
Oh,
doing
and,
EMDR with him?
Monty, are you doing EMDR with him right now?
No, because I just started seeing him, but we can do EMDR. That's not the issue. No, we can do that. I've seen him 4 times.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Great, there we go.
Thank you.
Okay. And the biofeedback, anybody know anything?
I do know that in terms of the VA, they send biofeedback to Omaha.
Okay. So I'm shit out of luck.
Well, I can tell you about the biofeedback. So biofeedback is going to be a really challenge for him to get, because he's got to be in person to do that. However, HeartMath is the program that I used to use when I did just biofeedback. And, I think it's $90. He can buy the program and the sensor for the biofeedback itself, and he can do it right on his cell phone. And I can walk him through that, but you got to do biofeedback in person. No, and that's not. There's only one other provider in Grand Island that does neurofeedback. They don't do biofeedback. There's a difference.
Okay. Okay.
Michael, I feel like we've made like a ton of headway. It's kind of been slow and I mean, we appreciate you letting us know your frustrations, the miscommunication that you've heard. I feel like we've been able to like work through your transportation and we came up with a solution there. Care in the community, it sounds like Monty's going to contact them for the miscommunication that they are
For
telling
his
his
part.
patients,
Right.
yes. So I just really feel like we've worked through a lot of things and we're kind of on the same page now. So that was like your number one goal at the onset of this meeting, right? Everybody get on the same page?
Well, sort of on the same page,
Sort of.
like, because the civilian care in the community providers, like, they're not on this page now. I mean, there's,
So which in particular do we need to get addressed still? The civilian care in the community providers? Who do you think who do we need to get on the same page?
pulmonologist for one.
Pulmonology, okay.
Pain clinic, I don't know what's going on there still.
Okay.
I'm still,
Okay,
So we say that those are still pending, so they're gonna give you a call, and if they haven't already, they will give you a call and set up an appointment time and date.
okay, you gotta be specific. Who's they?
Pulmonologist.
the pulmonologist and the pain clinic.
Wait, so is he not continuing with Mary Lanning's thing?
Right, there you go, yeah.
It's in addition.
It'll be in
It's
addition.
completely
Okay.
additional.
Okay, so did they know this? That they're supposed to talk to each other and share files, or
No.
do I have to do my advocating for myself anyway?
No, they don't need to share files. I need to get one from each person, and then I'll put it together.
Okay. All right. Okay. So, wow, you're gonna have a lot of work.
That's okay. I'm up for it.
Yeah.
I know he can handle that workload.
So, wow, yeah. Good luck. So what happens if there is more miscommunication? What am I supposed to do?
And like someone said earlier that Chris Banks is gonna get a phone call here before long, VACC, so that's a good thing, so that should be worked
Yeah,
out.
okay.
And if anything else comes up, contact me, Lauren, Heidi, I'm sure we're all open to talk, secure message, anything.
Okay. And then the pulmonologist, that's,
Yep, to be,
crap, was that Karen? Yeah, that's Mary Lanning, right?
yeah, because I didn't think you were gonna transport to Omaha, right?
Right, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was another thing that I never really got an answer about. Why am I not qualified to go to Omaha for inpatient treatment? Nobody's
So,
gave me that.
wait a minute. So essentially any inpatient program, when you want to go for, especially particularly mental health, it's not necessarily, okay, I don't know how to say this. There's certain qualifications that you have to meet in order to be approved to go inpatient. So suicidal with a plan, homicidal with a plan, essentially you have to be in immediate acute crisis mode, right?
So, okay.
And so, and that's not the CA, that's every inpatient mental health facility. And I'm not saying I agree with that. I'm just saying that is essentially just how the system works. Because you're right, there are some people who fall kind of in between there that would benefit, but they just don't meet criteria, right? So that's where we work really closely with our outpatient mental health and our outpatient medication management.
Right.
And right, Monty
He
and
recommended it,
Erica,
yeah.
and we work together, right?
Yeah.
So,
So when they recommend treatment and then I don't get that treatment, what's the repercussions for that? I'm just shit out of luck. I just have to suffer.
Well, I was thinking, Heidi and Monty, what is your thought about Wichita, Kansas? They have a great inpatient program with the EMDR and all that for PTSD. anxiety, depression.
Is that a VA facility?
Yeah, interfacility transfer to
In Topeka or Wichita?
Wichita.
Topeka or?
I could be wrong.
I thought it was Topeka.
Maybe it's Topeka.
Topega's got inpatient PTSD.
Okay, it's
program.
Topeka, yeah, okay.
Cause yeah, for like physical pain and stuff like that,
They can address.
they were always telling me the only option I had was go to Florida. And at that time, there was no way I could have done that. Like, I had too many things.
No, go ahead.
We're talking
It's
about mental
Florida.
health.
Yeah,
Yeah,
You brought up the inpatient
pain
pain.
clinic.
yeah.
Right,
That's
the
Florida.
Monty, are you there?
Monty?
Are you there, Monty?
Monty, are you still with us? We may have lost connection with him.
Okay. But, yeah, they were talking.
I'm here.
Okay. You guys were talking about 30 days inpatient in Omaha for physical and mental health, correct?
I thought there was a treatment program in Omaha, for mental health
See, I'm,
for 30 days. But if you're talking PTSD stuff, it's probably Topeka. It's a good program.
well, see, I'm going off of bad information, so.
They address mental health too there.
So it's just mental health then? Not physical health, or?
It's hard.
I'm lost.
Most mental health programs aren't gonna be there to address your physical health. If you're physically not stable, a lot of substance abuse programs and mental health programs won't take you.
Right.
Because you have to be physically, medically stable,
Yeah.
right? And so if you're going to address pain, that's a whole separate entity.
Yeah.
They're not gonna treat both at the same time. In the VA's world, I don't know about in private practice, I don't know how that operates, but my experience with the VA, they're not gonna treat both at the same time. Does that make sense?
No, not at all.
So,
Because they're all combined. Like,
They
if I
are.
can't physically get up and wash clothes and vacuum and cook and wash my ass, then I'm not going to feel good mentally because I'm going to be depressed.
and that makes sense, but listen, look at all the components you have going on right now, trying to keep them straight, very difficult. So put you in an inpatient unit and you're getting pulled away from mental health groups and classes to go address pain, and then, you know, maybe you have a pain class that you're getting pulled away to address your mental health. It's just too much going on to address all of it in one setting.
And then I asked about the nursing home, and I never got no answer about that.
But I know that Ashley, because I spoke with Ashley about that, because I know that she looked up a brochure, I sent her information about the vet's home, and she provided you that information.
Yeah, she put it on me to do all the stuff instead of having somebody that should be doing it for me or helping me with it. She put it all on me.
Yeah, well, assist you.
Yes,
Yeah, she didn't assist
we
me.
can get you the information, and yes, I mean,
So my learning disabilities don't count for shit around here. Is that what you're telling me?
so, I mean, if you would like to, we absolutely, if you want to come in, like, we would have to do it together. Like, I cannot necessarily, like, they're not going to take my, like, my word for, like, putting you on, say, like, a list. Like, we would have to do that together.
So somebody can help you fill out the
Help
application,
you.
but you are submitting the application
Yeah.
essentially. It's not coming from us.
Right,
Like, we can fill it out.
right. That's what Lisa was supposed to be doing, is helping me with that stuff.
Okay.
Paperwork, mail, reading things, understanding written words and documents and things like that. But I haven't seen her in almost 2.5 weeks now, so.
Are we talking about Lisa now?
Correct.
Right. So Lisa was trying to help you with some of the processes, Michael, and there were so many different ways you were being pulled, it was impossible to focus in on one. Lisa has not seen you face to face for a couple weeks.
Right.
That's relative to some of the concerns for you making threats and
I never made
set
threats.
up the ability for you to continue having contact with her.
I think you need to contact with whoever told you I was making threats, because I never did.
Say it again, please.
I never made threats.
Okay.
So there's some more miscommunication.
Okay, so this is something I need to follow up with you because I need to get going on as far as what our role is going to be in all this. It sounds like there's a lot of pieces trying to ensure transportation, follow through with physical health concerns. Is that correct?
I think we're on the same page with the transportation.
yeah,
I think we
transportation.
got the physical going on now. I think we're good.
Okay, so
That's
again,
what-
I'm still not understanding what the role, I think Ashley's role is done. I think that what Ashley was trying to do with Heidi and therapists and other pieces that you're working with was just overlapping each other and creating more confusion.
Right, because
So
I needed
think
an
Ashley's
interpreter.
role is done. What about, what do you see the greatest help with Lisa being, Mike?
An interpreter.
A what?
Interpreter.
An interpreter for what?
Between me and the world.
Well, Heidi, what role is there in the VA that helps with interpretation?
Well, I mean, our role is to act as like the advocate and like to help make sure they're getting hooked up with what they, like with the different services or whatnot that they are wanting to be connected with.
But we
My-
don't go into the home.
Yeah, we don't go into the home, we're not going out into the community with him. I mean, which essentially, I mean, when we staff this, essentially, technically, our role would actually be done as as he's connected with, all VA, essentially all VA services. But we continue to, maintain contact to help assist with, challenges and the roadblocks that come up. But yeah, like Trevor said, where that stops is we're not able to like go out to his house and help. Like if he needs assistance with something, he would have to come to our office in order for us to assist him.
Well, and there, what help do you need in the home? Like, what does Lisa literally do for you in your home?
Like I said earlier, mail, mostly.
Just help with the mail.
Yeah, mostly.
Okay. And as far as transportation, you can't get in and out of Lisa's car either, right?
That's correct.
Yeah. So the transportation piece is not there through community support. If you're going to need
Right,
ongoing
right.
assistance just to sort your mail and decide what pieces are priority, I think she can continue to do that. I might point out that Mike has been receiving services through community support
Well,
since
see-
January of 2021. And they're the ones who helped him move from Superior to Hastings. Is that right, Mike?
Well, see, the reason we brought Ashley in is because Lisa cannot be my advocate for the VA. She just doesn't have the knowledge to understand things, and so then she passes it on to somebody else, which was supposed to be Ashley, and then Ashley wouldn't really do anything. She's like, I can only work on one thing at a time. I have other people. So when she'd work on that one thing, it'd be like a week later before I get an answer, and I'm kind of dependent on her to, work with the VA faster so I can get care. But it
So it
just,
sounds like it's not being very efficient for you anyway.
no. Like I said, I need an interpreter, and Lisa isn't knowledgeable enough to interpret
Lisa's
for
not
the
going to
VA.
be able to interpret everything because of what you just said. She doesn't understand the systems
Exactly.
within the VA that are on this call right now. So Heidi, who would be the best person for that?
Myself.
I mean, I think it completely depends on what's being interpreted. If it's medical documentation,
Right.
we need to refer back to primary care. radiology, you need to call the radiologist. If it's a pulmonology report or lab reports, you need to call them or back to primary care. If it's just service connection letters or letters about transportation or care in the community, yes, we can assist with getting him in contact with care in the community to address the concerns on that letter. But essentially, like, interpretation is just, like, these letters that are being mailed out, it's not like, there's no special encoding, it's just, and sometimes these letters that get produced from care in the community, they're automatically populated letters when they receive these consults for care in the community. It's a letter that says, hey, we have this care in the community consult for this, and we've tried to contact you, and they automatically get sent out, and it's not like any one person is sending them, so that's stuff we can help coordinate. But
I mean, cycle through, but like,
Right,
that
cycle
just,
through.
that just happens, like, we can't change that process.
So, because of my learning disabilities, I'm just shit out of luck. Because I gotta advocate for myself, which I can't. So,
Michael, I don't think you're giving yourself enough credit. Like, I've seen you advocating for yourself through this whole process, so you are clearly very capable of that. We're
Absolutely.
watching you do this. You are capable of that.
and what has been accomplished? What has been accomplished? Up to today.
Transportation issues addressed.
Up to today though. Today is a different story because we're figuring things out. But up to today,
Asking for that.
what has benefited me up to today?
You've changed your primary care. You didn't feel like your care in the community primary care was meeting your needs. You got switched to the VA. You're now seeing a VA primary care.
And how many VA providers did I have to go through? Right?
Since you came back, I think this has just been the one. You've only
You
seen,
switched from
you've only
Edric.
seen Eric.
Yep.
Edric.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Because he was telling me that I was abusing medication, that I was on some kind of list, that
Okay,
he was.
Michael, you advocated for yourself, though. You did feel that that was right for you.
Yeah, but I
advocated
didn't
for
change
yourself.
anything. He's still probably going to do this to somebody else, right?
This is part of
Nothing got changed.
This is part of what I've kind of gathered is part of the miscommunication I've seen is some of these providers and one thing you reported to me on that time you called me is there's things being documented inappropriately or
Correct.
wrong in your record.
That's correct too.
And then you
Yeah.
turn and you tell these providers that they need to be reading your records, everything's in your records.
Mhm.
Well, if it's documented wrong in your records, why are we referring them back to read your records?
Because they won't take my word for it.
And that just is
You have an
very
example?
complicated.
The chiropractor, I told him my initial incident, the surgery, and I told him like how my back got screwed up, and he took it and combined it all into one story and kind of wrote some fiction.
And so when providers communicate with you and try to get an understanding of what's going on, that's part of the reason. So everybody documents however they want to document. We have a general formality. Sure, in education, when all these professions are going through school, they're
Right.
taught what needs to be in their documentation. That's different
Right.
for each profession, right?
Right.
And so the social worker doesn't understand the medical lingo. So for me to
That's
hear
why I
it
got
from
this
you,
team.
I
Yeah.
get your perspective, which is patient-centered, and that's very important for us here at the VA. We want to understand what the veteran's trying to communicate to us, the best that veteran can communicate it. And so it might be a waste of time for you, and I respect that. I totally get that. But for us, it's very valuable. You see what I'm saying? Because we're hearing it right from you. We can go back and read your chart. Absolutely. That takes a lot of time, which isn't a problem. But my concern is the way that we read that and interpret that ourselves could be very different from the way that you want it to be, want us to understand what's going on with you. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, the way my mind works with my disabilities and things, I tell one person, and then I go to tell the next person, and then the next person, and I leave out a couple of details because I'm remembering this conversation over here. So then when I try and tell them, it gets, I think I said it, but I didn't say it, and then it doesn't get heard, and then they don't understand. So it's like, just read my file, because it should be there, right? I mean, should. Everything should be in that file, so they should know it by then.
And that's where, I mean, when I spoke with you, you said there were some things about substance abuse in there.
Yeah.
Nothing stood out to me that, I didn't see a diagnosis of substance abuse, and so I was kind of confused with that. So I don't know if,
Yeah. I had down that he has a history of both cannabis and alcohol.
And medication abuse, correct?
Well, let's just stay with those two. Let's just stay with those two. The best way to resolve that is, can we get a urine test today?
Not today, no.
Because that would, if it shows normal for cannabis, then you're not on cannabis.
Right,
But if it shows positive for cannabis, it would clearly show that you're on cannabis.
right.
Would you submit a sample today? Is that okay with you?
Well, I'm on cannabis.
Yeah, okay.
Because right now, the only time I get relief is if I drive somewhere.
so.
Because that's what you prescribed me, was the only time I can take a pain pill and get some relief is if I go somewhere. So the rest of the week, I have to do something.
So if that's in your chart, then is that totally inaccurate? I mean, do you use cannabis and alcohol?
Cannabis,
Have you?
not
You
alcohol.
don't use alcohol at all?
No.
Okay. And
Not since I've been with
do you have
Erica
a history
Farrell.
of using alcohol?
Correct,
Have you ever
2015.
communicated that with any of your providers at any point in time?
2015.
Okay, so that was communicated with the provider, and it was probably documented at that point, and
Right, I'm not worried about the alcohol. It was the marijuana and the medication abuse.
okay, but, so something I'm gonna encourage you to do is, when you notice, you can get things in your record changed, and it's not an easy process.
That's not what Ashley told me.
Ashley at the VA?
What is she?
Oh, South Central Behavioral Services.
Yeah.
No, you can have things, it's not an easy process, but if there's things that are wrong in your chart, I'm gonna encourage you to document those for yourself.
I did.
Have those wrote down.
I did. I had paperwork, stacks of paperwork filled out with what was wrong in my files that I could find.
And who did you take that to?
Ashley.
Okay, and Ashley does not work for the VA.
Right. She's supposed to be the go-between, a
So
coordinator
you need to
between.
take it to- Ashley cannot change anything in the VA files.
No. I know she can't. But she was going to help me submit them. And then she's like, well, you can't, they aren't going to change anything in your files, whether you submit these or not.
So that's the lack of communication. The VA is the one.
It's not me, though. It's not my problem. It's not my fault.
And none of us can decide that. That
It's
has
not
to
my
go through a
fault.
whole committee.
It's not my fault.
I'm not saying it's your fault.
And then,
We gotta own that. We
Yeah.
gotta own that healthcare though, and not say our fault. We gotta make sure we own that and follow up with that stuff, right?
and then of course, they say if it's not written down, it never happened. Well, as far as I know, the file was never submitted for home-based primary care because I didn't qualify,
So I can speak to that a little bit. Andy Aarons and I did discuss that, and home-based primary care, I called you and talked to you on the phone.
Right.
And home-based primary care will not come into homes where cannabis is being used.
Right.
They just won't do it. So
Right.
since you're a current cannabis user, then that does take you out of being qualified for home-based primary
Right.
care.
But
And-
from
and I
the
called you and told you
message,
that.
but from the message, you said that he never submitted it, correct? He stopped once he seen that?
Yes, because in
So,
this.
quick, that's
in
what
this
I'm
sit-
saying, if it's not written down, it didn't happen.
Yeah,
So according to the VA system, I never asked for home-based primary
So
care.
in the submission, there's a series of, when Andy puts consults in,
Right.
there's like a series of questions he has to answer as he goes through the form to submit it.
Okay.
And it says, is the veteran a current cannabis user, yes or no?
Right.
And then you choose yes,
Right.
and then it opens up another thing that says, if yes, then stop this submission, the veteran is not eligible for home-based primary care.
So it was
So the full
submitted.
submission doesn't get submitted because the form stops him when he has to say yes to a cannabis user.
So basically, you got denied before the whole application got submitted because of the cannabis use.
Right.
And
So,
it was documented because I had
Oh,
actually
okay.
reviewed the chart and I had saw it.
well, see,
Or any
that's
of
why I
that
need an
documentation.
interpreter, because the way the secure messaging, the way I read it, was that it was never submitted, so it never happened. See,
Regardless,
nobody cares about my learning disabilities, it's like,
But Lauren called
yeah,
you,
give me stuff on that.
yeah, Lauren called you over a month ago and stated the reasons that you weren't eligible for it for cannabis, and we got the note in there. So you were notified.
you didn't hear me or understand what I'm saying. See, that's what I'm saying. You guys don't understand what I'm saying, I don't understand what you're saying.
Tell me
Because-
tell me what I'm not understanding.
Yes, I got like I said I got the secure messaging, but the way it was written out and the way I read it is that you stopped. Like, you were like, okay, we're gonna do this, this. Oh, no, he's not gonna do it. So I'm not even gonna send it in to anybody. That's the way I read it.
And that is what happened. So he was filling it out and he had to stop because it said,
Right.
is the veteran a current cannabis user?
Right.
And he had to say yes. And so then
But see, in my
it
head,
wasn't submitted.
the way I interpret it is, you guys don't care. It didn't happen, it's not being submitted, so it's not even in my file that, I was denied. That's the way I read it. So that's what I'm
So-
saying, my social traumatic communication disorder is standing in the way of a lot of this stuff, because you guys explain one thing and I'm thinking another. They're like, care in the community. We've been trying to get a hold of you. No, you haven't. This is the first time you've been trying. Like,
Michael, going forward, here's what I want you to know. I want you to know that I care about you. Okay? No matter what your disability is telling you in your head, I am telling you that I care about you. I care that you're frustrated, and I care that you've been going through this, and I care about your pain. I care about all those things. The communication part has been rough. Part of it is that there's so many hands in the basket, and part of it is that your communication disorder makes things a little hard, but please know that we do care about you, okay?
And, I want you to know that when you called me to case manage me, that, I was very clear with you. I have to communicate with Heidi and your provider to see what's going on. I can't just jump into the middle of this and fix things that people have already been working on. And as I dug a little bit into that, I came to realize there had been a lot of people working really hard for you, Michael. And so for me to step in and take that on, I'm not going to change anything. There's nothing I can do differently that these people have already done for you. I mean, they've done a lot of work for you, and you might not be able to see that, and sometimes, unfortunately,
it's all dead ends.
well, unfortunately, sometimes
Not
we
all,
don't
but
see all the
mostly.
work that people have put forth behind the scenes. And so I'm letting you know, I've discovered a lot of things that people have done to try to advocate for you, to get services in place for you.
And what good has it done, though?
Well,
We are making headway. I know that it feels like maybe we're not, but today, even in this meeting, like what Heidi said, not giving yourself enough credit, you're doing an amazing job of advocating for yourself. And we've gotten a lot figured out in this meeting. It's been, there's a little bit of frustration. Clearly you've uncovered a lot of miscommunication, but you're doing an amazing job of advocating for yourself, and it's gonna,
At
you just
the
have to keep
cost of
doing
my
it.
mental health, correct, yes, I have.
point blank, you haven't gave up on yourself and neither of us. None
Like
of
I
us
said,
have
it's
gave
not
up
my
on you.
fault.
Right. And none of us have gave up on you. And I.
Oh,
and I-
when your hands are tied, that, in my mind, you're giving up. You're not risking your jobs or anything, your careers or whatever, to get the treatment that I need, not just the treatment I qualify for. And that's the way my mind works. Because I've been dealing with this for so long.
Generalize that across the board, because I'm not gonna put my head out there to make sure you get medical services provided to you. I'm not a medical professional. I can
Heather
advocate
did.
for you, and I can say, hey, what's going on with this?
Everybody that has gotten fired or been threatened to get fired. So,
Well, I think you're taking good initiative with today, because, I mean, you got yourself here.
yeah, I played my own doctor, correct? Yep.
Yep, I mean, you definitely have the initiative. You definitely have the initiative.
I want to get healed. I just want care.
Yeah.
Reliable care. That's it.
Is there anything else that's like hindering from understanding some of this and the communication?
Anybody else want to chime in? I've said it probably 1,000 times already. Social pragmatic communication disorder.
Okay, I understand that. I just said you also were, on cannabis and things like that. Does that prevent you from sometimes fully understanding and communicating things clearly?
No, because I just started cannabis not too long ago. So, March, I think.
Would, if you got, and I'm not gonna try to tell you to do anything with your personal life, but would, if home-based primary care would be a thing for you, but you would have to stop the cannabis, would that be something, because that's, again,
It's
something
not,
that you
though.
would take
It's not, because, like they said earlier, I don't qualify.
based off the cannabis?
No.
correct?
Based off of, what
The
was it
cannabis
called? No,
use.
what was it, what else was it called? I'm not homebound,
Essentially, yeah.
because I don't have a diagnosis.
Right.
So,
So at least if we can say no to the cannabis, at least we're getting one step ahead and we're getting in the right direction, right?
no, not at all. Because I'm still not homebound considering the files and everything. I'm not considered homebound.
Yeah, sometimes we get hung up and stuck on certain things though, Mr. Harrigan, and we gotta work through those things. That's what I'm trying to do, is talk and work through those with you. So we gotta sometimes not be stuck on those things. So
Well, that's
go ahead.
That's the qualifying thing, is to be homebound. And I'm not considered homebound, so
That's correct.
cannabis, no cannabis, it doesn't matter. I'm still not gonna get home-based primary care.
So maybe we'll just take that off the table, because you're right, if you're not homebound, you won't get home-based primary care. So let's move on from that.
Right.
So today we've addressed your transportation, and you've done a fantastic job of being willing to work with the DAV and to stand pivot transfer, get you to your appointments. The care in the community miscommunication, Monty is going to address that, and that is big and that's frustrating. And I could tell it even in his tone of voice, he was frustrated, so that is going to get addressed. Okay. The pain control, so all your different modalities are all working towards your pain control, right? So we're working on that. I think in the onset, those were the 3 goals that you mentioned: pain control, steady constant care due to lack of transportation that is consistent, and then VA and outside therapies that are miscommunicating. And so we're trying to do better for the miscommunication piece. So today has been, I think you've done amazing advocating for yourself, Michael. It's been frustrating for you, but you are taking care of you, and you're doing.
I'm not. It's making my mental health worse.
I know.
To the point where I feel like doing some things that I shouldn't be doing. Like,
Your mental health, you're struggling, but you're.
yeah, it's
you're
either
doing-
focus on that and make my physical health worse, or focus on the physical health and make my mental health worse. That's what you guys are all telling me, because there's so much.
Which would you like to concentrate on first?
All of it. All of it. Because it's all connected together. If they want to pump me full of mental health pills to make me numb out so I'm not so angry all the damn time. That's like sitting in a pile of shit with a cut on your arm and you're just sitting there cleaning it up, putting it back in the shit, cleaning it up, putting it back in the shit. You gotta get out of the shit first before you clean the wound. It's common sense. Well, I'm still in the same fucking situation, right? So mental health is gonna keep getting worse and they're just gonna keep pumping me full of medications. For what?
Well, once we start keeping those physical appointments, you know, for your physical health, you know, PT, all that.
Right.
I think we're gonna see improvement in that, and then we can concentrate more on your mental health, because your physical health is being addressed once we get you into DAB
Right.
and get you to these appointments.
Yeah, I agree. I second that because you are working with Bonnie, that's your mental health. You are working with Erica, that's the other piece of your mental health. And like you said, and so you've got that basis covered, right? So now it's just kind of figuring out how to get you to all your other permits, which I think we addressed today, correct?
To get in there, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it'll all start to come together.
I sure hope so.
Yeah, just take it as like, because we're all aware of what happened and what has happened in the past, you know, from what we've been told now and then what we've been looked at everything. But the best thing we can do now is be optimistic, and now that we have plans to move forward, whether it's transportation, your mental health, and all that stuff. Granted, the care in the community, I think they said someone's going to get a call for that one, but we're only doing what we have the information and what we can cover in each of our sections right now.
What about the rest of the care in the community? Who's going to address that? Because Monty is going to address his issue, but what about the other issues, like with massage therapy, acupuncture, biofeedback, EMDR not being in, you know, like, who's going to deal with that?
We addressed the EMDR and the biofeedback, we talked about that.
Well, we talked about it, but we never figured anything out with,
Well, Monty said he could do EMDR with you.
right,
Biofeedback is really only available in Omaha
Right.
at this time. And I had double checked that already with mental health, like our mental health group, and it's only available in Omaha. And like he said, you have to be in person.
so I'm just shit out of luck is what you're saying.
Well, no,
You
Monty
can go to
also
Unpump.
talked about the heart math program.
Well, right, yeah.
Which is something that you can do individually, Michael. It's
The
very
what?
effective.
I didn't hear
Like,
what,
Heart math,
map?
heart math program.
Remember when Monty was talking about the biofeedback program that you could purchase for like
$90.
$90? It's
Right.
called Heart Math.
Right.
And he said.
And
that
then
you
be
could-
my own doctor is what he was saying.
But said he was gonna discuss that with you during your appointment, one of your appointments.
These are all additional services to help you. They're not trading one for the other, these are additional.
Yeah.
We're not stopping something, we're adding something.
To get more care for you.
The biofeedback, that's what we're talking about, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. He said that he could do that, but then I'd have to be my own doctor because, right? Am I
No,
correct?
it's just a program that you could use to.
Right, so I'd have to play my own doctor, right?
Well,
I
that's
do it
what-
at home and read it myself
That's
and,
what biofeedback is, kind of.
so then why would I have to be in person? That don't make sense.
How about you wait until Monty
Yes,
explains?
Monty will discuss it with you.
Okay. So,
As far as the massage therapy and the acupuncture, I can help you follow up on that, but the last that I knew, my understanding is that we do not offer massage therapy and acupuncture via care in the community. So I can double check on that. And
yeah,
I can
you're
talk to
wrong.
care in the community,
You're wrong. You
but
do. Well, Kevin said no, Janice said yes, Tracy took my complaint, Dennis said no, Becky said yes, Nicole said no, and Tammy said yes.
so if that referral was already put in,
It is.
okay, so
And it's
we can
already
follow
set up.
on it and see if it was accepted.
Right.
And see where we're at with that.
Right.
But, yeah.
It's just crazy.
Hang with us, we'll help you.
Yeah. So that's what I would tell you. The first step is like talk to the contact in the community to see where they're at with the referral. Okay? And then I can go from there and let you know what.
I need to sign out, and before I do so, can I have one person in the community support worker to coordinate with?
Say that again. I communicate with Ashley.
I can't hear you.
Heidi communicates with Ashley.
Okay, and
Right.
Ashley is done, Heidi, so you'll be communicating with Lisa Smith.
Okay. Did she forward all that information to her, or?
Say again?
What is Heidi's last name?
Degat.
D-O-G-T, right?
DEGODT.
Okay, I'll get your email from Ashley and follow up with you that way.
Perfect.
Any other questions for me? Okay,
Yeah, no.
I'll see y'all later.
All right, thanks for joining. All right, I think we got some good things. Laura, did you have anything else?
I don't think so. I think we addressed a lot of things, and
Could you explain to me the pulmonologist piece?
Yeah. I called you, I think last week, right? Yep, and I talked to you on the phone, but we can go over it again.
Yeah, I was just.
What's your question?
This is mild positional sleep apnea.
Yep.
That, and my understanding is that means I quit breathing.
All sleep apnea means you quit breathing, yep.
Okay. So, could it be from the pain? Because when I did
No.
the sleep study, I woke up 3 times from pain.
No, this
So-
is strictly,
Okay.
this has nothing to do with pain. Pain does not involve sleep apnea. Positional means you just get sleep apnea when you lie on your back. So
Okay.
positional means you need to lay on your side, so you change positions, and that will help you
Alright.
sleep.
See, that's why I usually don't get much sleep, is because I'm constantly
Yep,
adjusting.
yeah,
So,
yeah. But that's what that's about. And they say at times you're running low oxygen, like your respirations. So there's 2 issues: you
okay.
get sleep apnea and hypoxia. So, and they're going to go over all. The hypoxia just means your oxygen saturation drops into the 80s.
And then the pain clinic, I should set it up here, or is that going to be a community thing?
No, it's going to be here, but
Okay.
it could be VVC.
Okay, and then and you said that they would send stuff to you, and then the epiduralist and.
And I'll coordinate it. Yep, I'll be the center point.
Okay, all right.
You got it. A lot of stuff to.
You ain't
A
kidding.
lot of stuff. Yeah. And I was just gonna.
And this miscommunication, that's the biggest issue. I
Oh
think.
yeah, absolutely. And I was just gonna show you real quick on when you saw pain on 516. I believe that was Dr. Albers at Mary Landing.
Yeah, I think that's about right.
516.
Yeah.
He says your symptoms are consistent with cervical, which is neck.
Right.
Which is what I had talked to you about. Because you're
Okay.
receiving treatment for T or thoracic.
Right.
And he's agreeing with me that it's looking more like it's cervical, your neck.
Okay. Because, I mean, the pain
Yeah.
starts right there. And it goes up.
So if we can, yeah, so I need to see Dr. Albert's notes more.
At least
It's
it
good,
hasn't
yeah.
been going into my ribs, though.
Yeah.
That's one good thing.
He thinks it may be in your neck, and that might explain why some of the treatments aren't helping.
Because this wheelchair isn't
Yeah.
really helping much either.
Absolutely. I'm glad you
All
came in,
right.
sir.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for coming. Yep.